Tax day is less than 2 weeks away, and millions of taxpayers still need to file their returns. Well, as many of us are feeling the pinch of rising costs, we're taking a closer look at what this all means for your wallet and some common misconceptions that actually could be costing you lots of money. Joining us right now, Vanessa Williamson, Senior Fellow at the Urban-Brookings Tax Policy Center. Vanessa, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, so what are some of the biggest issues tax filers run into during this time of year?
Well, every year people delay and wait, but this year it might be a little bit more painful than usual. As everyone in the DMV knows, a lot of federal workers lost their jobs last year, and that included 25% of the people working at the IRS. So they have come into this tax season really undermanned. So if you have questions, you might wait on hold on the phone, your refund might get delayed. So it's a very good year. It's getting close to the deadline now, but to file as soon as you can.
So let's talk about sort of misconceptions as it relates specifically to the tax system, because it seems like there's a lot of experts that are floating around online and on Instagram, which is kind of scary when you think about it. What are some of those things that that we need to clear up for people as it relates specifically to filing their taxes and making sure they don't get into trouble with Uncle Sam?
Yeah, so a lot of folks on the internet, and frankly, a lot of politicians have been really pitching the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. These benefits are actually quite small, and a lot of people aren't going to qualify. So if someone's coming to you saying, hey, let me do your taxes because I'm going to get you a better refund than you've ever gotten before because of these new measures, I'd be very, very careful. Look for a reputable preparer and don't expect too much. A lot of these new measures have been really overblown.
Well, as people in the DMV check their banks accounts and they're dealing with rising costs, just living is costing a lot more these days. What should we be thinking about, particularly if we are getting a refund this year?
Yeah, so a lot of folks are going to be getting refunds. Bear in mind, it might be coming a little bit later than usual. It is not a good year to be getting a paper check. If you can possibly get direct deposit, definitely do it because the paper refunds are going to be really delayed. They messed around with that system quite a lot, and there aren't the people they need to get it done. I mean, more generally, I would just say file early, and if you've got a refund, maybe put a little bit aside this year, thinking about the costs that are going to be rising up ahead. I saw you had the gas prices listed, and I was made nervous. So I tell you, put a little bit of that money aside for these new costs.
Well, yeah, I can tell you, as someone who lives in the Commonwealth, seeing the gas station right next door to your house jump up 12 cents overnight was enough to make me run into work this morning so I can afford to pay for more gas. Last question before we let you go this afternoon. Now, you spend a lot of time studying how people feel about taxes. What surprised you most about the way in which Americans feel about sort of owing the federal government?
The most interesting thing is that Americans actually have very high tax morale, as the jargon term we use for it. People see paying taxes as their civic responsibility, and that's true on all sides of the political spectrum. Over 90% of Americans will say it's your civic duty to pay your fair share. Over 70% will say it's a patriotic responsibility. If you want to get over 90% of Americans to agree on something these days, you've got to ask them whether the moon landing happened. So this is as close to consensus as Americans get. People see paying for their government as a part of their responsibility as a citizen. Taxation and representation really do go together.
It's interesting because, as American as you feel, patriotic duty to sort of pay into the system. When the system owes you, it would be nice that with the same enthusiasm they take those taxes, that they give them back to me when it's time to get my money back,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't agree with you more.
All right, friend. Thank you so much, Vanessa. We appreciate you being here with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You do.